Sometimes it takes a while for it to load up. Let's see. It seems like we're live.
It is.
Okay, I think we are. Hello, Facebook. I am, first of all, so excited to be speaking right now in front of everyone and to have our very, very, very special guest, Sonja Banks. So for those of you tuning in here, welcome from all over the world. We have people, oh gosh, from all different corners of the world watching us. So for those of you tuning in, please share where you're watching from. And really welcome back. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching us. Time is just amazing. My name is Jake Sussman. For those of you who don't know, I'm a dyslexia ADHD influencer, an entrepreneur, founder of Superpower Consulting. And since quarantine started, I've been interviewing so many different types of people, from parents to industry leaders to doctors to business leaders, and also people like you. And why am I saying this? Well, because we have all at least one thing in common. That's that we are in this space, or we have a learning and attention challenge. And we all may have struggled in school. Now, I have a very, very special guest. Again, Sonja Banks, the CEO of the International Dyslexia Association, right? That's the intro. I can't really, I don't know what else to do with justice. So you know what, Sonja, I'm gonna let you just share a little bit about yourself. Welcome, and let's get this thing going. Like, let's start this. So how did you come to be the CEO of the International Dyslexia Association?
Wow, that is a very good question. I was, before this position, I was the CEO and COO for the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America. And it's a funny story because I took that job in 2000, I believe 10 or 11. And about 2 or 3 years into that position, I received a call from a headhunter about a position with IDA. And I was just getting into that job and was like, I don't know if this is something I really want to do. I have, I don't normally, when I start something, I don't leave unless I finish it. And I had a lot of work I felt like I needed to do at Sickle Cell. And so I decided, because the headhunter called me, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to interview. I'll never get it. And I interviewed for the position and I got the position, and I was not prepared for that. And there was so many things going on. Again, I was at Sickle Cell. We had just written a very large grant. It was an $11 million grant. And my mother at the time was not doing very well. And I just decided to stay there. And I turned down the position. And so fast forward, some years later, the position comes back up again. And at that particular time, which is last year, I was really ready for something different. And I felt like I had finished what I started at Sickle Cell. And so I applied for the position again. And that's how I got to be the CEO of IDA.
Wow. And, the IDA is a leader in dyslexia education, in funding with research, and their mission is to make sure that everyone deserves to read. And what is more beautiful than that? And tell me a little bit more about this mission, Sonja, because why is it so important that we should be focusing on literacy?
Well, I mean, if you look at the literacy rates now, they're pretty poor, and they've been like that for years. And when you think about the number of young people and adults that are affected because they can't read or they're having difficulties in learning, the education system, we know it needs an overhaul. It does. And we all as a community have to band together to fix this issue for our kids. They deserve better. They deserve more. And that's really, I think, the main point of of why we do the advocacy work that we do is to move the needle on literacy and help young people to succeed in life. If they want to read, and they should be able to. And we have this saying at IDA that reading is a civil right. And you think about it, it is a civil right. Every person that's on this earth has or deserves the opportunity to be able to read and to get a very good education. We owe that to every child out there. So that is the reason why I think advocacy is so important and why IDA exists where it exists today.
Wow. Every child deserves to read, and reading is a human right. It's a civil right. It's a civil right and a human right. And, you know, for those of you watching us here, please, I do encourage you to just ask questions. This is your chance. You know, let's dive into some questions. And there is a little bit of a delay, so I am going to do the best that I can to be watching the comments here. So yeah, I mean, I can really stand by that, Sonja. I know for me, when I was younger, I was 3 grade levels behind in reading in 6th grade, forced to read out loud in class. I mean, the problem was that I kept being labeled the behavior problem, you know? Now, the question is, how do we expect someone to want to be open to learning in the first place when you just get so triggered? For me, whenever I would even think about reading, Sonja, I would get this pain in my stomach. This pain, I would be in agony. And I really think that it's just so important that we focus on this, because the ability to learn how to read, it's so much more than just reading a book.
Yes.
Right? It's so much more than reading a book. And it's just so, it's great. Now, okay. We have parents watching us here, again, with kids of all different ages. Now, I would love for us to just take a minute and let's go back to little Sonja, to your childhood, if that's okay.
Okay. That was such a short time ago.
Yes, yeah, exactly. What was it like being in school for you? What was some of your biggest challenges that you faced in school or as a child, and how did you overcome it?
Yes. You know, well, I didn't have dyslexia or a learning difference. Actually, I excelled in school. I was, you know, pretty much in the books. I was what people would call a nerd, so to speak. And I loved school. I don't think school loved me. And I say that because I was picked on a lot. I was what they call bullying now. Back then, they didn't call it bullying, but it was definitely bullying. And I was bullied. I was bullied because I was such a nerd, because I wanted to learn. I was the person that was the young lady that was astute in class and always raised her hand and always wanted to jump up and go to the bulletin, the blackboard. And I got ridiculed for that a lot. And I didn't look the part. I was very tiny when I was growing up. I was, you know, underweight, so to speak. And I was picked on a lot for that. So I think my biggest challenge in school was overcoming the people, my classmates, and how they viewed me. For a long time, I struggled because I wanted to be accepted. And I thought that I needed to be accepted by everyone. And I actually just began to shake that off maybe 5 or 6 years ago. But up until then, it was, oh, why nobody likes me? You know, why don't I have the friends that everybody else has, or any of those things? I remember one time I tried to, how do you call it? Just kind of sit back and not answer any questions and try to be cool, and the things that I thought would help me to fit in, and none of it worked. And so those were my obstacles in childhood. But fortunately, I had very good support at home. And I know you said that we're talking to parents out there. And parents, you are so important when it comes to your child, whether they have dyslexia or ADD, ADHD, whether they're just going through something in school. You don't realize what a support you can be to that child, just listening to them. I had a great mother and great grandparents who encouraged me and said, hey, don't worry about what others are saying. You are beautiful, you are smart, you're going to be anything you want to be in life. Don't worry about how people accept you, whether they accept you or not.
I think that's from the perspective also of a child as well, right? And I'm not a parent yet, and I really resonate with that. To have a support system, to be that anchor for you as we're going through adversity in school and facing these obstacles at such an early age. Now, did that ever impact your academics? Did that impact your that must have really impacted your confidence?
Yes. So my academics, no, but because like I said before, I had, parents saying, hey, use what you have, and you're smart, and don't shy away from that. Be who you are. But my self-esteem, it dwindled. I can tell you, I suffered from low self-esteem and a lack of self-confidence in myself. It was, I'm not cool enough. I'm not stylish enough. I'm too dark. I'm too short. I'm too small. I constantly criticized myself. And I did that over and over and over and over again, and again, if it hadn't been for my family, that support base, that every time I would say something negative about myself, they would say something positive. That's what I think allowed me to hold on and not let it just overtake me. But yes, I went through a lot with self-confidence, lack of self-confidence.
Did you have a teacher that stood out to you that was like, you just remember that impacted you in some way? Or was it mostly your family?
Yes. No, it was a teacher, actually. I had several teachers that impacted me. When I was in the 6th grade, I had a Mr. Green, and he was my math teacher, and he had gone to China and lived there for years, and he came back and he brought this new way of doing math, and I thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread, because math was probably my weakest subject, and just understanding math was great. And he worked with us. All of the kids loved him in class. He had so much energy, and he cared. If I was struggling, if I asked a question, he cared. He cared enough to say, hey, stay after class, or let's listen to your question. He was just that much of a teacher. And then my history teacher, I never forget her, Miss Delahaye. I love Miss Delahaye because
you gotta love Miss Delahaye.
Yeah, she put this spin on history that I'd never experienced before, and she brought things to life. And she was the reason why, long story short, I wanted to be an actress for a little while, because what she would do is she would make us act out history and just put a new spin on how to learn history and the dates and all of those good things. And she was actually the reason why I wanted to, go into, like I said, theater and all of that good stuff, was because she just made it so much fun.
Wow. You see that? Now that to me is so cool, right? Here we have a situation where we have teachers and parents, your parents, that were willing to think outside the box, that were willing to go outside the norm to what is typically taught either in the classroom, or the self-confidence that your family was encouraging you to keep believing in yourself. I think there's something to say about that. And for those educators who are watching us, I think this is so important, because it's so easy for us to just forget that here we have a human being, and there's a whole nother side to reaching a child than just what the textbook says. And I really appreciate that share, because I can only remember too, the teachers that stood out to me and their names, and really their names. And that's something cool also, that's like, we remember their names, remember our teachers' names. And I have to say, just major shout out to our teachers, because they're trying.
Oh, absolutely.
They're trying.
Absolutely.
They're really trying. So with that being said, let's jump forward to the present again. Okay.
Okay.
What in the IDA, what's your biggest area right now that you're interested in? Either personally or professionally, and what are some of the things that you're researching right now?
That's interesting. I'm researching a lot of things, but one of my habits that I love to do is, I call it my side job, so to speak, but I don't get paid for it. Is I love the arts, and I love um, screenwriting and video and videography and all of those things. And so I try my best to just keep my mind fresh on those things. I'm also a fundraiser by trade, and there's so many different ways now to fundraise. And so I am researching and taking classes. Even though I've been in fundraising for years, I'm taking classes on just the new innovative ways to get people to hear your story and to raise money. So those are just some of the things that I'm doing. I'm focusing, of course, on our vision. And I know you're probably going to get to that question. But we actually, in November of last year, so I've been with IDA now maybe a year and a half. It feels like 7, but it's a year and a half. And in November of last year, we met during our annual conference. We met the board of directors, we met with our branches and with our stakeholders, and we launched what we called a new resharpened vision. So it's a vision that IDA always had. And that vision, if you've noticed, our tagline is until everyone can read. And that is our vision. And so what we did was we kind of resharpened the vision to say, what are we going to do if we want everyone to read? And our focus has been science of reading and structured literacy, and getting that into every classroom. And we know that it's going to take time, but my hope is that in my lifetime, I can see millions and millions of kids impacted if we can get that structured literacy and that science of reading into the classroom. And we're talking general education, we're talking public schools, we're talking private schools, we're talking every classroom. And the way we're going to do that is to get our teachers prepared more than what they are. They're very prepared now, but there are so many teachers out there that want to do more for these kids, particularly those in the classrooms that are struggling, and the teachers may not know the reason why they're struggling. So we know that structured literacy is the answer, and that's what we're aiming to push. So my research has been science of reading, structured literacy, fundraising, and then on the side for fun, I do all the video stuff because it's what keeps me sane, and it's what
Right.
I love to do. So that kind of evens me a little bit.
Ooh, there's so much that you just said that just got me so excited. Okay, first of all, here's something I just, while it's fresh, because you just mentioned it. You're talking about the thing that keeps you sane, right? Because you have so much going on. First of all, you're leading an organization in a pandemic, not just an organization, a nonprofit, right? Which I have loads of questions on also, because I'm sure like the nonprofit space, it must be just total, like not in the cards in your 2020 plans of just what's happening now. But you were mentioning that, the videos, and you like, the filmmaking and screenwriting and script writing, and these are your outlets. Like at Superpower Consulting, what we work with our kids on, for those of you who don't know, we run a mentorship program for kids and young adults with dyslexia and ADHD. One of the lessons that we teach is called an outlet, right? And it's not the plug in the wall. It's an activity that helps us express to feel in control, right? When we may be at a loss of power or feeling overwhelmed, right? So for you, I heard just now, that's like, you're running this organization. There's a billion things you can do, literally, right? Because we want every child reading. So that's a lot of work. That's ambitious. We got a lot of work to do. But yet you can still come back and have that time. So tell me about this. Like, why do you like these activities? What do they provide for you that give you this sameness?
Oh my goodness. If I could say peace of mind, it's nothing like doing something you really, really enjoy, because when you enjoy it, it makes you smile and it makes you happy inside. And so I do these things because it makes me happy. My job is very fulfilling. I love nonprofit work, but my stress reliever when I am away from IDA is to do something that gives me energy. And I
Mm,
love to learn, whether I'm reading something or whether I'm just watching something on YouTube. I love to learn. I love to mimic. So I will watch someone redo a table or furniture and just take a stab at it, because those are the things that I just enjoy doing.
right.
Videography and script writing is just one of the things that I'm I love to do, and I do it because, one, I'm good at it, and guess what? I don't charge for it. I don't get paid for any of this. This is what's the reason why it's probably such an outlet for me, is because I'm doing something that I enjoy on my own time, on my own terms, and it just gives me that solace, you know? So I tell people all the time, there's nothing like taking your gift and mixing it with your talent. And I say that
Yes.
because my talent is nonprofit. I went to school for that. I know it like the back of my hand, nonprofit management, been in it for now 30 years. But my gift is the arts. That's my gift. And if I can mesh the two, it just makes me happier. So I'm doing this video stuff, but I'm doing it for work also. And it's funny. My boss was telling me, "Why are you doing it? Why didn't we hire a company?" I mean, because I love to do it. It's what gives me that peace of mind.
Yeah. It's so important for our parents watching. This is such an important lesson. It's such an important lesson because our kids are overworked. And so are our teachers, by the way. Our teachers and our kids are overworked. So the question is, how can we give them the tools to have that solace, right? That time for them. And for a lot of times it is video games. And that is a sensitive word. I know I'm walking a fine line right now, but it is, obviously outlets, there are extremes, right? There's escapism, which is destructive, right? And also there are destructive outlets, right? But the question is, how can we harness our outlets and use them as strengths and as ways that we can have that solace? And I think, we were talking about this earlier today, Sonja, that, one of my big breakthroughs that I've realized and I've seen during COVID-19 is that 2020, like, the way we teach kids, the way we are measuring kids is in a certain world, in a world of predictability, and in a world of, if you get an A, that means it's perfect. And that's what we should be striving toward. But I'll tell you, I don't think any memorization for an exam could ever have prepared us for COVID-19. No, you can't. There's no words on a test that can prepare us for it, for memorization. So the question is navigating uncertainty. Our kids needing to navigate uncertainty and being able to, adapt. And that comes with having that solace. That comes with having what you're talking about. You're able to navigate a pandemic running an organization with this. And now, what was that like, if you don't mind me asking? Like, what was it like to navigate an organization like this through a pandemic?
Oh my God, it was rough. It was really rough. First and foremost, I'm in Maryland, where I don't know if everybody remember, but our governor was like on the cusp of all of this, and so we were one of the first states to shut down, and it was right in the midst of us planning for a gala, planning our conference, all of these things coming at us. We have a new streaming TV channel that I want to talk about. All of these things, and all of a sudden, COVID hit, and we have to shift, and we have to shift fast, because I am one of those people in the very beginning that was like, well, until they just shut down everything, we're going to work. We're going to be in this office and we're going to work. And then it just
Right.
happened like overnight, the governor says, hey, everything, if non-essentials, you go in. And trying to shift to that. And I'm going to tell you, it was very, very difficult. And very, very challenging. It was challenging on me, it was challenging on the staff. Your donations dry up. There are so many things that happen because of COVID. But I can tell you this, and the good side is our community was just so supportive. This organization has been around forever, and it has the greatest advocates and the greatest supporters. And we never had to worry about the doors closing like so many other nonprofits that have faced the doors closing. We've never had to worry about that because our advocates and our supporters have stepped in and support this organization. And what held us together in the office is what we have to do. You know, for most people, when COVID hit, everybody was focusing on the healthcare workers, and that was the first focus. But our focus was on the kids in the schools who had to go in and learn in front of a computer and do something different that they have never really experienced before. And that gave me, I guess, what I love, a challenge, and that pushed me because I'm like, now more than ever, what we do makes more of a difference.
Oh,
we
yes.
have to get out there and we have to impact these households because kids are going in, our teachers are struggling to teach, especially our kids with dyslexia and kids who already have learning differences, how to learn via online distance learning. We were, at that point, it was like, hey, IDA, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna step up to the plate? And so it was no time for me to cry and be sad and mope and depressed because of COVID. It was like, hey, it's time to move and shake and work. And that's what we did.
We got work to do.
Yes, and that's what we're
Come
still
on,
doing.
we're not sitting around.
Yes, yes,
Woo.
yes.
You know, wow. That, and I'll say too, like being able to work with kids as well, you know, because, you know, we're working with many different types of kids from, you know, really since the start of the pandemic began. It really went from what do I do? Because having a learning and attention challenge, one of the biggest, you know, components to that is not being able to adapt very well. And being able to adjust to a new environment is incredibly disruptive.
Yes.
But what we're seeing though, and I'm so curious because as our mission continues with every child deserving how to read, I was seeing kids' perspectives of school change. I actually miss school because I miss my friends.
Yes.
I miss going to school. Come on, we weren't seeing that pre-COVID. We were seeing, I want to stay home.
Yes. Yes.
You know, it's really amazing. So on the topic of leadership, I love leadership in the conversation of leadership because there's so much to that. And a lot of it is humility. But what makes a leader, right? What makes a true leader? A leader is nothing without their followers, right? Without their first, you know, people that are with them. And as a leader, Sonja, you are a leader. You are, you know, really a remarkable individual. And thank you so much again for joining us and for all of us watching. It's such an honor. Give Sonja a shout out by liking this. I mean, she is just remarkable. Really, really, really. For everything that you're doing for our kids, it is so important. And it wouldn't be happening without, you know, your leadership, especially through such a crazy time. Now, when it comes to leadership, right, we have, you know, leadership can't be defined as leaders without, well, people that are following them. So what is your perspective on leadership, and how can we also work to create the next generation of leaders? Like what could we have learned through the pandemic, through being in the dyslexia world? How can the lessons learned, and also for you as a child in your childhood facing bullying, what are some tips that we can learn for the next generation of leaders? Yeah.
Oh, great. So I want to go back to say that the first major characteristic of a good leader is that good leader was a good follower. You have to be a good follower.
Yeah.
You have to understand with humility and humbleness that you don't know it all, and you have to learn from someone else. I came into this job a year ago, a year and a half ago. And my learning or my, I guess, knowledge of science of reading, structured literacy was small at that point, because I came in as a nonprofit manager. So I know all the bells and whistles of how to run a nonprofit organization from beginning to end. And I've been doing it forever. But my learning curve was dyslexia. My learning curve was structured literacy. My learning curve was understanding the dyslexia community, what you want, what you need, what do you say? It's not just about me. And as a leader, you have to step back and you have to say, it's not about me. I am the vessel. That's what I am. I am the person that's chosen at this specific time to take this organization to a level during this season. And as long as you have that perspective as a leader, then you can move forward, because then you know that it's not about you. So I came in learning a lot from people who have been in this community forever. They've been doing this. Elsa, Eric Treatise, Jennifer Topple. I can name Louisa Moats, and just humbling myself to listen to them. I didn't come in saying, "Oh, I know what I'm doing, and I don't need you to tell me anything." I came in saying, "I need to hear from you." I called and talked to individuals with dyslexia because I want to know what you want. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you want IDA to do. What do you feel IDA should be? And I talk with teachers. And those are all of the things that I think make a good leader, is that one, you are a good follower. Two, you're willing to serve. I consider myself, they have all these kinds of leaders, charismatic leaders, you learn all this in school. And I've always affiliated myself as a servant leader.
Yes.
I love to serve. I do. And it's one of the reasons I'm in nonprofit. There's no reason to be in nonprofit if you are not a servant, because your job is to serve. I serve my constituents, I serve the teachers, I serve our branches, I serve our global partners, I serve our staff. My staff, I serve. I lead by example. And I think those are all good characteristics of a good leader.
My friends, I don't know if I have anything to say after that one. That was so good. That was so good.
And I want to add, and never stop learning, never stop gaining knowledge. That's the other thing about a leader. You cannot stop gaining knowledge, because every day things change. And if you stay in one spot, knowing one thing, you're not going to be able to move forward, and you're going to get behind and can't catch up. So always be willing to gain knowledge. That's another good characteristic of a
so awesome. And for those of you watching, I'm curious what you think a good leader. What are some good qualities that make a good leader? And it's a really good conversation to have, especially in 2020. We will not be going into politics, don't worry. But it's important to look at the future. It is. And I'll say, literacy, I personally see this the literacy crisis in our country as a national security issue, right? I see this as a matter of national security, because if we have a generation of functionally illiterate Americans, that makes us vulnerable to propaganda, that makes us vulnerable to getting persuaded and being ignorance, right? This is a much bigger issue. And how about this? Who are the next people running our country, and who are the next people being the next CEOs of our big corporations, right? This is a growing issue that's going to impact business. It's going to impact government. It's going to impact our military. It's going to impact everything. That's why this work with literacy is so important.
Yeah, it's very important. I tell people all the time, when you watch TV or you see things, or you Google dyslexia, and you see all of these great people. You see Steven Spielberg and Whoopi Goldberg and oh goodness, forgot his name, Tom Cruise, and you see
Daniel, we can keep going.
That have made it, and I think it's wonderful, and I think it's great. But I also want to take in another perspective. There are kids sitting in the classroom that won't get those breaks. There are kids sitting in the classroom that they don't have the support. They don't have, what is needed for them to excel and even use their gifts. There are kids sitting in the classroom that they're so down because they can't read, and they're so down on themselves that they don't see the other talents that they have. We all have talents and gifts, but the goal is, how do you discover those? And if you are so down on yourself and you have a lack of self-esteem because you can't do something, or you feel like you can't do something like everyone else, then you're not going to move in that direction of excelling.
Right.
And so I'm here for, you know, the Steven Spielbergs, but I'm also here for the kids that are in there that if they don't do well, if they can't learn to read, then they're going on in a different direction. They're taking the other yellow brick road, you know, to prison, to crime, to unemployment, to just being down on themselves. That is who we need to really focus on a lot, because there's so many out there. There are kids out there, they don't know they have dyslexia. They're sitting in the classroom, their teachers are not aware, their parents are not aware, especially if you have a parent like me growing up, or parents where if you're not doing well in school, there's, hey, you better get your lesson, and you're not focused and you need to focus. When the truth of the matter is they can't focus. You don't know what you don't know. And we have to be open to that. You know, my mantra is never judge a book by its cover. That child sitting in the classroom that's struggling doesn't mean that they don't want to learn. It doesn't mean that they're the class clown. It may mean something else that's deeper. And I think we have to get to that and open our eyes to that. So that's what this literacy push for strengthening literacy is all about. It's about those kids who may not get that opportunity that the Steven Spielbergs and the Tom Cruises receive.
Right.
You know.
Right. It's so smart. I mean, our mantra, as well as, you know, every human being has a brain, but none of us have the same mind. It doesn't matter if you have dyslexia. It doesn't matter if you have ADHD. You could be neurotypical. It doesn't matter.
Yes.
All of us have the same. Well, no, none of us have the same mind. We all have a brain, though. Get it mixed up sometimes, you know. So, but here's the thing. I mean, as you were saying that, I think back not only to my own childhood, but to all of our kids, the young Richard Bransons that were told they were stupid and could never do anything, or the Daniel Radcliffes that were told they quit acting because they would never be an actor because they couldn't read, right? So, but even those who can't, who may not be at that point, we're seeing a situation now where a lot of kids are so resistant to, I'm sensitive with the word help, because that means there has to be something wrong, but kids are just resistant to opening their minds to new perspectives. And because they're so triggered because they think they're broken. And they think that every professional out there is going to either fix them or help them with their homework. There can't be any other way. And I really think that that's something that we should be really thinking about, because if kids are so resistant to even a conversation, what's real, how can we really even tap into them wanting to even be open to learning? And then once that happens, Sonja, then there's a whole nother conversation how to articulate it to someone who doesn't understand, which is self-advocacy, right? So there's so many parts of the equation here that is just, it's just so important. It's so important.
Yeah, it is. I think the key is kids, like anyone, but I think as adults, we handle it better, but kids, they don't want to be judged. You know, you don't want to be judged. And so I think that that's a part of resistance, is if I say something, if I tell someone what's going on, if I want to shift and do something else, am I going to be judged? What are people going to think? What is my mom going to say? What is my dad going to say? What is the teacher going to say? And it's a sense of not wanting to be judged. And I do this all the time. If you ever want to understand what someone's going through, take about 5 minutes and try to step in their shoes.
Yes.
Step away from yourself and step into their shoes, because sometimes it's easy for me to say something because of me, But when I step into your shoes, it's different. And when you hear their story, try to step into that story. And then you'll realize, hey, I don't want to be judged, and I totally understand it. And I think that's a big thing for our young people. And we have to get them past that, because the world is the world, and it's going to be judgment, even though it's not right. We have to get our kids past that. But I think we have to get them past fear of judgment. Kids are very resilient. They're
they are
most resilient human beings out there. They will try anything. Their innocence is they're excited. Generally, kids are happy. They have a happy spirit, I should say. And what normally gets them down are people or judgment of people or from people. And so I think we have to figure out how we can do better as a community. And when I say that, I don't mean the dyslexia community, I mean the world. How we can do better to understand our kids and support them and step into their shoes and not judge them. And I think it'll go a long way. And that would be my advice for us as adults and people that are out there in the world.
Yeah, entering their world, really.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I don't think any human being would want to open up to someone that they don't trust.
Absolutely.
If you don't trust the person, why open up?
Right.
And I think that's so true. I mean, to be able to step into another human being's world and not try to fix the problem at hand, but just to be with them. Let's take it back a notch. Let's just be. And maybe we'll find something that we've never seen before.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So awesome. Now, okay, now here's a question for you. What motivates you in the morning? And I think I have an idea based off what you've been sharing, but I'm curious, like, what's the thing that just like gets you out of bed in the morning?
So there are two things that motivate me. And the first one is very spiritual. God motivates me. I am a Christian, and my faith is strong. It has to be. I rely on it a lot when it comes to COVID, when it comes to what I'm going through at home. I just rely on my faith. And so what gets me up in the morning is the fact that I am still living, the fact that God wants me here on this earth to do his will and to walk in the destiny he has for me. The second thing that gets me up in the morning is knowing that when I get up, what I do will make a difference in lives. And again, I talked about how I am a servant. I've always wanted to change the world. I mean, growing up, people just say, you're going to be a president. You're going to be the president of the United States, because I've always wanted to change the world. I always see things and say, that's not bad. That's just need to be fixed. And, let's fix it. And to know that when I get up in the morning, what I do makes a difference. It may not change a person's total life, but it makes a difference in someone's life. It makes me happy. It makes me want to get up the next morning and do it all over again. And so those are the two things that motivate me, that gets me up in the morning. When I'm down, when I'm feeling discouraged, those are the two things that I rely on.
I feel motivated right now just by hearing that. Let's go. Woo! Okay. So speaking of going, I want to talk about this conference. Apparently, it's the biggest conference there is out there on dyslexia. It's the best conference. It's the largest conference. It's the International Association's global conference. Yeah. Tell me about this. And for our audience watching, I really hope that you've already bought your tickets, because this is a conference you definitely don't want to miss. So Sonja, tell me about this. And also, I want you to talk about the Go Red campaign. So we'll do a little bit of both.
Okay. So with the conference, we have an annual conference every year. Of course, it is the IDA annual conference. We call it Dyslexia Con. And we are so excited. This year, we are going totally virtual, of course, because of COVID. And it is going to be so exciting. We have some really good speakers. We have over 54 sessions. We have Oh goodness, a family, what we call family community track. We did something a little different this year. We had 3 chairs. We have 3 chairs. It's because we wanted to make sure that our conference was even across the board. And so we have a research chair, we have what we call a professional development content chair, and then we have a family and community chair. And basically their goal was to just build a conference that would be for everyone, where everyone feels like they can come to this conference, participate, and learn and get the information that they need. So the conference is November the 13th and 14th. It is virtual. You can go on our website if you're interested in registering. There are special rates for families. So if you're a parent, family member, you're eligible for a special rate. And we just want everyone to come in and enjoy it. And again, when I said 54, I meant 54 credits, CEUs. we do credits. Oh my goodness, sessions. We have a plethora of sessions. We have over 100 sessions. The good thing is because we normally do this in person, we are extending our conference. So although our conference is 2 days, we were able to get all of the presentations done, and then we will actually air more than what you see on that Friday and that Saturday. You'll get to see more throughout the year. So that is something that we're wanting to offer. And we're doing this because it's in line with the vision. Again, we say we want to get structured literacy into every classroom. What better way to do this than to go virtual and invite anyone? Now anyone can come. They don't have to worry about traveling to Denver, Colorado and spending on hotel and travel. Now you can sit at home and you can watch the event. And if you miss something, you get to see it again that Sunday. Actually, for 7 days, I believe you're able to go back in and see the entire conference. So we want everyone to participate. We want everyone to come. Listen, I do want to say this: if you are a parent and you need a scholarship, we do have scholarships available. And so just reach out to our office, because again, we don't want any barrier to anyone not coming to this conference if they want to come. And so we basically are saying we will do whatever we can to help you if you feel like you have a barrier in making the conference.
Wow. It's going to be a good one. And the opening is going to be really great. I highly suggest that you come.
I was trying to save that for a surprise. That's what I was trying to do. That's what.
Who is that? I didn't say anything. All I'm saying is that it's going to be really, really good. It's going to be very, very good. So with that being said, Dyslexia Go Red campaign.
Yes, that is happening this month. So IDA joined in the Go Red campaign. I believe the campaign's been going on now for about 3 years. This makes the 3rd or 4th year that it's going on. And this is the first year that IDA has officially joined as a national organization. So we've joined other international organizations across the world to raise awareness about dyslexia. We have a big event coming up on this Saturday, the 17th. It's our RED, Reimagining Education for Dyslexia, which is our virtual soiree. And we're going to have entertainment. We're going to have live entertainment. We have pre-recorded entertainment. A very special guest has done a very special presentation for us. I won't say who, but we have so much. It's going to be jazz, there's singing, there's dancing. And the one thing that we wanted to do that was fun was we had this lip sync showcase. So we have over 100 lip syncs that have come in. So we're not going to play all of them, but we're going to have a lineup of these lip sync presentations. So it's going to be fun. It's totally free to join. You watch it on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page. And we just implore everyone to come and just support the event and support us throughout this month in raising awareness. I think this year it's really heightened. If you go on social media, we're seeing a lot about dyslexia and going red. And so this is a great opportunity. And I wanted to say, because we started getting a little pushback about red. One, this has been going on for years, so this is not something new. Two, this concept came from parents and advocates who wanted to redeem the color red, because so many kids who have dyslexia see red on their papers, that red F. And so this concept was redeeming red. It's redeeming that color. And so they started the Go Red campaign. And so we're very excited to join it and very excited to be having our great event on Saturday.
It's going to be so awesome.
Yes,
Hope you all make it. Hope you all go. It's going to be.
Yes, just watch it. It's virtual. You can watch it all day long. We're going to reloop it. So we'll have it for some hours and then we'll play it again, and so that everyone can see what's going on.
Wow. Wow. So does anyone have any questions? I'm going to hang out on here. We have some great responses, Sonja.
Oh, great.
I've been watching this. We have people, tuning in here. And if you're watching us now, where are you watching from? I want to know. I want to know, because there's nothing cooler than community. Tell me where you're watching from. But yeah, look, again, if you have any questions for Sonja, we're happy to answer them. There is a little bit of a delay, so just bear with us. But while we're asking, 2 points. One, Sonja, what would you say is just some advice that we can share with our moms, our parents out there, our dads that have kids with dyslexia, currently struggling right now in school because of online learning? What is the IDA doing, but also what are some tips that we can have our parents bring home to implement to our kids?
So I think overall, what we've been doing is sharing a lot of free resources. We have our new and free video webinars that come out. We do them, we call them Motivational Mondays, where we actually have videos from our experts that teach techniques, give advice on keeping kids resilient. There are all kinds of topics there. And we basically implore you to either watch it, it's usually live, but when it's afterwards, we post it on our YouTube channel and our Facebook channel. And so those are free resources. You can go to our website and get pretty much any free resource that you need. The good thing about IDA is we don't have any resources that we charge for. So everything is there for you to take part in and use. Sometimes it's a little hard navigating. So I tell people, go to our website and then go to the top where it says fact sheets, and you'll see all of the resources there. The good news is we are launching our very own digital library.
What?
Yes. And
Whoa.
it's actually out now. It's a soft launch. So we did a group of individuals that are going through the site and making sure all the kinks are ironed out. But we're hopeful that next week we will launch it to the public. And what that's going to do is put all of those resources on one site for you, so that you can just go to that site. You can type in whatever you're looking for and it'll pull it up. You can even ask questions on our community board, and we're there to answer those questions for you. So we have a plethora of resources. We're excited. We're going to have, we have our streaming platform now. It's called IDA TV. And we're going to be launching it actually right before conference. So you would be able to sit at home if you have a smart TV and watch IDA TV in your own homes, or you can see it on the web. So those are just some of
the cool.
Yeah, that we're putting good content out, and we're trying to keep the community informed. So those are some of the things that we're doing. Now, for the advice, I would say, and as much as possible, keep your child motivated. And the first thing you have to do is motivate yourself, because you can't motivate your child if you're not motivated. And I know it's hard. You're at home, you're working, kids are online, you're online. It's a lot. COVID is a lot. COVID is a challenge for everyone out there, just about. But if you keep the child motivated, keep them, make the learning innovative, I think that's going to inspire them to not give up. And that's really what we want, as they're sitting at home watching their little friends on the web because they can't be in person with them, and just keeping them motivated and having them to believe in themselves and keeping those spirits up, I think is going to go a long way. And I think that those are some of the main things that you can do. And just don't give up. Just know that there are resources out there. We're here for you. Anything, our doors are open. Anything that we can do, we're here. That's what we're for. And there are other organizations. So that's the other thing. I don't want to keep tooting IDA's horn. I am with IDA, but there's LDA, there's Understood, there's so many other organizations. There's Decoding Dyslexia.
Superpower Consulting.
Yes, yes. Get involved and seek assistance from them. A lot of those organizations have free resources also. Yeah. So reach out to any of us. That's what we're here for. That's why we were, created, so to speak. Why our organizations exist. So we want to be a help for you.
Amazing, amazing. And again, while you were sharing that, we have people again watching us from Maryland, Texas, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Florida, South Carolina, New Jersey, Connecticut, Florida again, Jacksonville. Oh my goodness, we got people watching us from all over the place. And wait till Europe wakes up. They're sleeping right now. Anyone from Alabama watching? No? Well, maybe someone will. Ooh, we got some hearts coming in. Something will come through. Okay, so I have the question of the night. It's coming right now. You ready? I'm going to let you think about it because I have something I want to share also. So, what is your superpower? Okay. And I would love to just take a minute and think about that because it's, I don't know, it's a good one. It's a good one. And if you have it, share it, share away.
Oh yeah, I already know what my superpower is.
Oh, okay. So please.
My superpower is innovation, the ability to think out of the box. And if you ask anyone that knows Sonja Banks, they're going to say she is innovative. She's an out of the box thinker. And that's a blessing. I can take an idea, listen to someone, sleep on it, and come up with something bigger.
Yes.
And that is my superpower. And I love it because I am able to use that superpower on my job, at my church, in this grocery store. I'm just always thinking of doing something big and making it bigger. And so that's my superpower. It's innovation. I really didn't have to think about it because anyone who knows me will say, yep, that's Sonja.
Innovation. That I think that we should leave on that note because let me tell you, we need innovation, and you are leading the way. Sonja Banks, the CEO of the International Dyslexia Association. Again, if you have questions, I'll be on. If there's any way for people to reach the IDA, you can visit the website. I'll post it online. Yes. On this page. And if you are interested in our mentorship program, we work with kids from 7 to 23 years old with dyslexia and ADHD to help build confidence to be able to self-advocate. It's so important. So just feel free to contact me directly or visit our website at superpowerconsulting.com. Okay, Sonja, thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything else you would like to leave us with? Or?
I do. I want to say that you are phenomenal. You are a very awesome young man, and I am just proud to know you. And I thank you so much for inviting me to come on this show and being patient with me. When did we talk? We met, some months ago?
Oh, we met back in
April.
Out.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah, some months ago. And it's just been nonstop, and I just enjoy having conversations with you. I absolutely love your program, and I think that there's a huge need for it. And I just want to tell people out there that I don't always want to ask people to just support IDA, but support advocates like Jake and their programs and the things that they're doing, because they really are making a difference. And that's what we're all about, is sharing in that wealth and sharing in helping others to succeed. So I just wanted to say that, and thank you so much for having me.
Yes, it was my pleasure. All right, everyone, until next time, I'll see you on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. And Sonja, see you soon. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.